apologize. Our cast is like tomato today.
I did not know this was so tangled. There we go.
Okay, just, introduce yourselves and tell us what you did on the film.
Eddie Harris, writer, one of the producers. Walter Fauntleroy, I play Taji Harris.
Yeah!
Re'Shaun Frear, one of the producers.
I always ask the same question because it's always so important to me, and I hope to the audience and anyone listening. But where did this idea come from?
Oh, wow. It's just it's a story that just originated from seeing guys in my neighborhood that were living the wrong life and, getting caught up in situations where it changed their life, Taj's character is a guy who I knew was, back in the day, he was just in the streets and then disappeared and then reappeared months later at a home that takes, elderly people with disabilities, and it was right across the street from where I lived at. So one day I was going to the store and I saw this guy sitting outside in his wheelchair waiting for someone to come in and get his groceries. And I started seeing that often with a few other guys, and that's kind of like what the seed was planted to write a story based on a character like Taj.
That's great. That's absolutely great. I'm coming out to you guys for questions, so, get them in mind. Now, how did it get from you seeing guys waiting on somebody to help them with their groceries to getting on the screen at the Chinese theater?
I just wanted to create a story, a real to life story. And from when I sat and talked with this guy over time, I just started to realize that Steps is a story about redemption, forgiveness, recovery, and love, and steps people take in their lives to get there. And that's the conversation that me and this guy had. He realized all of the wrong that he did in the past, and he wanted to set that right. So he was looking for some of the people that he robbed back in the days and stuff like that. So that was kind of like the spearhead, the springboard that made me want to take it to this level and really create this story.
Yeah, and I think you did such a great job with, because forgiveness is a two-step process. You've got to you've got to forgive, or get forgiveness from the others. You also got to forgive yourself.
Yeah, but what you're missing is this. How do you forgive somebody that ruined your life?
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one in this room. This guy was successful. He had a family. He was getting ready to be on another level. And then the guy destroyed his life. How many of us in this room, and this is what I love about this one here, is because I love material that challenge me. How can we, in what we're dealing with right now with hate, racism, I want something that gives me hope. And I want something that, for me as a filmmaker, that I can sit up there and say, there's a possibility that I can make myself a better person. Because I'll tell you, before I joined this project, I was that person, and I could not forgive. When somebody did me wrong, I went in.
And when that happens, they win.
Right.
Until you can move on, I know, I think we probably at this point in our lives, we all know someone who's got some addiction or some problems that bring them down. And I think if you were to dive into that character, he was going off that cliff regardless, with addiction and the disease of that. I mean,
I was going to add to that, and Steps is a story, it's a real to life story. It's not a black and white story, it's a human story. Anybody can relate to the universal feelings.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's a story that shows the relationship between men as well. So.
Very true, very true. How did you get on board this thing?
It's a trip. I did a project with Tasha Smith years ago called Boxed In. Well, I played a bipolar character, and right after Penwa.
Well, tell them who Tasha Smith is first.
Well, I thought everyone in the room. My apologies. Tasha Smith. She's an actor, director, producer on
She's a
television.
beast.
Yeah, she's been around.
and Tyler Perry. Well, see, Tasha's my best friend. And I like E.G. Daly's in the house here. If
Put
you
the
don't
mic
know
up
who
there
E.G.
so it makes
is,
it on
you
the
need to
video.
recognize. But when I talk about E.G. and I talk about Tasha, that's called love.
Right.
But don't minimize Tasha.
No.
By no means am I minimizing Tasha. She's been great. She's been very instrumental in my life in terms of getting me going. She had a relationship with Eddie and Benoit, and so after I did a short film called Boxed In, it kind of parlayed over into this. I had never met Eddie. Today is the first night I ever heard about the story about the guy in the wheelchair. I didn't have a backstory on him, but I did have a history of what it's like to grow up in those kind of environments and those kind of situations. I wasn't, without trying to, convict myself, I wasn't a good guy or bad guy. I knew, like, in my heart I wanted to do good, but it's like these bad experiences always kind of found me. So I can relate to who Taj was because I had a lot of friends like that and had a lot of experiences in that. And so when I walked in, it was honestly very intimidating because I didn't know who any of these people were. And then Rob, he was a beast of an actor. I always had a lot of respect for him, but they were very graceful. They were very appreciative and supportive, coming in from all the way from LA to Jersey City blindly, and they took care of me. It was like home, and I think you saw the result of that on the screen.
Yes.
And it's not often. I know when you read that script, what was that first reaction?
When I read it the first time, I knew I wanted to do it. And I had a manager, God bless him, I love him, he's a great guy, and he is. He was trying to, he said, well, he wanted to get the money right and things right? And I'm like, I don't care, I want to do this film, I love the story. And for about a month and a half, every day, I read it, I worked on it. So by the time I got there, I was like, I cannot mess up this film. And like I said, it just worked out. It's a godsend, it's a blessing, and I'm eternally grateful for being able to help tell this story.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Talk a little bit about, because from that end, because I've had this happen to me, and it's fantastic when somebody reads your stuff and they get excited. Talk about the first time that happened.
First time.
With this script, what was
First
what,
read through. Is it the first read?
Sure. Or the first time somebody just jumped, just with like.
Oh, you mean after you wrote it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
As writers, we're our own worst critics.
Right.
So I was very reluctant to give the script to anybody to read. I flushed it out in 3 days. The story was just so built up. I just wanted to get it out. And then I gave it to someone I didn't know, just to get some, and very critical. And I was expecting a lot of constructive criticism back. And when they came back and said, "Look, I almost cried halfway through," I was kind of stunned. I was like, "Really?" And then that was the first draft. But that right there was a moment that made me say, "Look, I might have something."
I cry every time I see this movie. I just see this movie. I just literally, I kid you not, I was sitting in the corner and I was crying. I'm sorry. I mean, it's like I have been blessed to live my journey. And I started my journey with that beautiful woman right there. And I just am so in awe of you. Because I have made movies with 4 Oscar winners. But this is like my baby. I love it. Because it just makes me, I want to be that person, to be that better person.
For some reason, that made me think of a line in a movie another movie we had today and this is kind of part of the whole community. There's a line in that the character says, "When I go to bed each night, I ask myself, who did I love today?" And that was just a beautiful thing. Do we have any questions out here? Yes.
Statement. It's just really interesting that the day before Father's Day that I saw this movie, because that's like kind of an issue in my life, and something I'm not usually transparent about, but in being a better person, hey, why not? This this was so nuanced and the writing was so honest and open. It really is an amazing piece of work. The way that when I just heard him yell out "Dad" at the end, I totally got exactly why this is so important that everyone needs to see. So it was just an awesome opportunity to see this right before Father's Day, to forgive my father, well, my stepfather and my real father, so just awesome work, and thank you so much for doing this piece.
Thank you. When you were writing that scene, because watching it, it's like he's gonna say Dad, he's gonna say. But I could see as a writer, because you got two big choices there. Did you ever have him say B?
No, I wanted what he just said is exactly how I wanted to affect the audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's such a beautiful thing sometimes when you know what's going to happen. You're sitting there going, he's going to say Dad, and I'm going to cry. And it does happen, and you do cry. Yes. Did you?
Hi. That was really beautiful, and I was wondering when you said you fleshed it out in a
That's
couple of
E.G.
days.
Daily, by the
Hi,
way.
guys.
Hi.
Hi. So when you said you fleshed it out in a few days, what do you mean by that?
Wrote the first draft.
I mean, that just blows my mind because, this film, I love movies, but I don't see a lot of movies with that many, just like beautiful, genuine connections and fateful things that happen in life, and God, beautiful things and interactions, and to me it was just like, it had so many, and it was long, I'm like a kid, like it's hard for me to sit in a movie, but I had no problem sitting through this movie. It was like, I kept being like, wow, this movie keeps holding on to me, like it was really beautiful, and your
Thank
work
you.
was really great, so thank you for your beautiful acting. And Re'Shaun, to me, this movie, you being one of the producers, represents you, because to me you're this really beautiful, deep-souled, genuine human being, so I get why you cry when you see this, and I just love you, so that's it.
Thank you.
And if we can just jump on the gush pile too, I was very the preacher character, the fact I love the interaction between the two, because I'm an atheist from the South. Yeah, I've been shot at by Klan members. I got all kinds of stuff. But the preacher was, and I hate when they are stereotyped, and the conversations between the two, and it's like that he was not going to tell the other guy his faith. He was just going to show live his faith, and that's the way. Do you have experience with that? Is that?
No, I think that came from just the line that Rob said. Look, I believe in God, but I'm not a religious person. And what I wanted to do with the story, I wanted to make the story so that it could be, well received from the church.
From atheist white guys.
Right. Right. So that was the pastor. I wanted him to be what the term was, street pastor. He never pushes it on you, but he just shows you, and that's what I wanted his character to do.
I learned a new term today, the street pastor. Any other questions? Okay, I've got a projectionist on overtime, so we got to get out of here. I'm sure you guys will be around in the lobby. You'll be around here to say hello. Any last words? Any last?
I just wanted everybody to know, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
I just want everybody to know how special this film is, and that's why we keep it very close, and we're gonna make sure that it gets the life that it's supposed to have.
Yeah.
Because it has a message in this world. We all just want some hope in this life. And that's what this movie is about. It's about hope, because we got a lot of hate, we got a lot of all this extra shit. I just want to be, it just inspires me every day that I get up to live a better life.
Yes.
And all of us to live a better life.
Thank you. That's a great.
But I just appreciate everyone coming out and supporting the film.
Yes.
I hope it reached your heart. Hopefully it changes your life in some way for the better. I really appreciate everyone. Thank you.
all, and thank you all for coming, and you got one more thing? I'm sorry.
No, I was
No,
gonna
he
say,
has to say something. He wrote this movie. You gotta say something.
you know, I summed it
At
up.
the end of
you
the
know?
day, Eddie.
I don't know, I lost the words. He summed it up for you, took it all from me. But no, I appreciate everyone coming out, appreciate the support. For more information on the film, go to stepsthemovie.info and just support the film when it comes out, please.
Yeah.
Good work. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all for coming.